What's up, my bows and bow ties? This is the Black Opinionated Woman, also known as a bow. So, yeah, I normally don't go live this late, but I wanted to get this one out because, yeah, so let me just say this. I had originally started this video while I was at the airport, and I had to cut it short because I had to take several flights to get back. It was a whole big thing. And I started to just record the rest of it and then actually download the content and merge them together into one video, into one recording. And then I decided to just do it all over. But anyway, if you're new to my channel, I want to just say, look, just trust me. You're going to like what I have to say because, well, in my mind, I'm entertaining. I'm going to put my banner up there just to let you know these are just my opinions. But also, not only are these my opinions, but also the things that I'm saying, I actually had a conversation with someone. So, anyway, let me put the title up here. Hold on. Where was it? So, this is what we're going to talk about tonight. A white African woman confirmed my concerns on Africa travel. I should say African travel. That's not even correct. I probably should just have it. A white woman confirmed my concerns on traveling in Africa. So yeah, a lot to get into, and I probably won't even do this video justice because it's a little late. I'm a little tired dealing with the weird it's like I should be getting ready for bed soon, but I'm also dealing with, oh geez, jet lag. And so if you're wondering what is going on, let me take this off. If you're wondering what's going on with me, I am sitting on my couch. I was too lazy to go into the office or sit at the kitchen counter. All right. So let me get right on into it. Let me just say, my original title was going to be called Why Haven't I Visited Africa? So for those of you who know, I'm back from vacation. I like to go away several times out of the year when I can, short and long trips. And I was with my family in Central America. We were at a local ice cream shop, and I happened to ask the lady, for some different flavors. She started talking. It was a white lady actually, which was interesting, and because normally people are brown. And I just stopped her. I said, "Where are you from?" And so first she says, "Well, I'm French." I said, "Oh, okay." She says, "Well," and then she paused. She says, "I have a French passport, and but I was actually born in Tanzania." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "So I've always wondered if it was pronounced Tanzania or Tanzania." And it was interesting because she goes, I'm not quite sure because I hear it both ways. She said the thing was, I was born in Tanzania, and then her family moved to Kenya. So I'm looking, I'm like, okay, this is a really interesting woman. This is a really interesting conversation already because I just wasn't expecting it. I just wasn't. I was thinking maybe South African or something like that. But anyway, so we get into this conversation while my kids are like, I want to try this. And I'm like, if just chill. So if you're wondering what's going on with my setup here, I am actually shining the light from my phone so that you can see me because it gets really dark. I don't know. Maybe you guys can see me. I don't know. So I figured I'd give myself some light. Don't judge me. You got me too. I'm just so. And please forgive me if my energy seems low. And I have my notes here. And I'm going to show you. These were my original notes until I made some different ones on the top here. I've had this sticky for about a week or so. But anyway, I said to her, which, by the way, I find it interesting that we never exchanged names. She may have told me, but I was more interested in the other things she was saying. So I said, well, you went to Kenya. And so she was like, well, yeah. So basically, my husband and I'm sorry, she said my father, I guess they moved around, whatever it is. I don't really remember the entire story, but they moved for whatever work he was doing. And then eventually they settled in Gabon, which is on the other side of Africa, if I remember correctly. I said, wow. So You spent so much time on the east side of Africa. I said, well, what brings you here? She said, well, I'm here because I was doing some sort of diving something or other. I'm not sure exactly what she was doing, but it was something with diving. So I don't know if they were making some sort of video or whatever, but she's a diver. I was like, oh, really? She's like, yeah, well, I'm here for diving. So in her off time, she lives there, but she has like a little ice cream shop or whatever. So I said, do you miss living in the continent? I said, you know, in America, we call it the continent. And she said, yes, I do actually. I said, okay. So where would you recommend? She said, if I were you, she said, now I could basically, she was like, look, I was born on the east coast of Africa, but she said, I would probably recommend going to the east side of Africa. She was like, Tanzania. Well, I said Tanzania. She says Tanzania. I says Tanzania, whatever. Maybe some of the islands. So I'm thinking like islands off of Madagascar or whatever. So she was like, these are great places to go visit. So what was interesting about this was I paused and she paused and I said, you know, I have my concerns about visiting Africa. And she looked at me and she smiled. I said, for one, I'm a Black American. And I said, I have a collection of experiences with people who've come from Africa that have been positive and negative. Okay. So, and I know Africa is a big continent, right? There's like, was it 54, 55, 54 countries in Africa, something like that? Look, if I have it wrong, please forgive me. I said, I understand there's various ethnicities and there's just different cultures, just different, and you can find jerks anywhere. Surely we have enough of them here in the United States. Sans me, because of course I'm not a jerk. But anyway, I said the thing that irks me the most. Now I'm going to run down my list. I'm going to talk about just people who come from the continent. Now, I realize by me speaking so candidly is going to rub people the wrong way. This is going to irk some people. I said, my frustration with people from the continent is that there's like this, I think I'm better than you type of mentality. I hear people talk about like, well, we come here to your country, we into America, and we do all these great things. Yes, this is the kind of stuff that's come out of people's mouth. Now I want you to listen. I have several stories. And I was explaining to her, I said, it was really frustrating. I'm like, well, there's things put in place for immigrants to succeed. Number one. Number two, I'm like, you're sending some of your best people to the continent. It's not like you're sending your dregs of society here to the United States, like most, like many immigrants. I said, but the thing that killed me the most is, us here, the Black people in the United States, we are definitely the misplaced, Black peoples from the diaspora. And I'm like, well, you would think that people from Nigeria or from Benin and Togo or Ghana or whatever, they would say, hey, you know how there's this thing that we talk about having the picnic, right? I'm like, you would think, no, I didn't use those words with her. But what I did say is you would think that they would say, hey, I understand that, um, many of us sold you off into slavery, or at least from our ancestry and all these other things. But won't you come hang out at our I don't know, celebrations and stuff like that, learn some of the culture. So I went into several stories of my experiences with people who come from the continent, men and women, things that I've heard them say, like, oh, yeah, our impression of your people. So they're thinking, like, yeah, but we may be different culturally, but we're still the same people. So she was like, the one girl in particular, I remember she mentioned that I remember learning, like, we have kings and queens and princes and princesses, and we see like Black Americans and like it just like a bunch of drug dealers, and they're lazy and some other stuff. Now this is the kind of stuff that has come out of somebody's mouth, and I'm like, you know what? we can come up with all kinds of stereotypes from all kinds of people who, who live over on a continent. Any person who has any common sense or any form of real education has to recognize that this simply does not account for the vast majority of people, whether it's here or there. But anyway, I said, I don't feel like I would be accepted in those spaces. And she looked at me and she shook her head. She didn't deny it. She said, I think some of the places that I mentioned would be great places for you to travel. It was more of like a deflection, but she was coming from her perspective, right? She's going to see things with a different lens. She was born there, she grew up there, etc. So, she was going on and on about like, hey, you should visit these areas. But I said, even if I were inclined to go, even though I kind of still want to go, I would love to get to the east coast of Africa. I would love to visit Tanzania or Madagascar. What's that island off of? It's gonna come to me. Um, was it the Seychelles? I don't know. Maybe the Seychelles, or might be over in Asia. I can't remember. But anyway, I said, so this is the thing though. It's a heavy price tag. Now, I said, when I travel with my family. I have 4 children and a husband, and of course myself, and we leave our diva cat at home. And I said, it's very expensive. I'm like, don't you have to get like a lot of visas? And she looked at me, she was like, you have to get a visa for every place you visit, every country you visit. She was like, I was born there and I have to get a visa. And it's not like the easiest thing. Like she was just like, it's a pain. You got to get so many visas for almost all of the countries that you visit. So I was just kind of like, that sucks. And I think as an American person, I think you have to get them all here. Like you can't be over in the continent, like visiting South Africa and then decide, hey, maybe I should, excuse me, maybe I should go visit like Kenya or someplace, right? And she was like, yeah, I don't think you can do that. She said, they don't make it simple. So I was just kind of like between the various visas and the fees, and I was just like, that's a turnoff. It's not reasonable. And I guess I've been very spoiled as an American person. If I go over to Europe, I move freely. Heck, just hanging out in South America. Well, it wasn't South America, it was Central America. I just moved about freely. I didn't have to worry about all that. I don't even remember when we took a trip. I didn't have my kids with me. I went to Australia. I don't remember needing a visa. I don't remember needing one. If we got one, then my husband did it because I don't remember needing it. I've been to, I can't remember, countless countries, and I don't recall ever needing a visa. But to get into the continent, I feel like I gotta like take a bullet for the president or something. I was like, it's just a turn off to me. And then I was telling her, I said, let's talk about from a medical standpoint. I got to get all these shots and stuff. And she was like, yeah. I'm like, what the heck is going on over there? I need all these shots. And then I got to get my kids shots. And I'm like, and then like I remember I was talking to my husband one time. I was like, don't you think we should try to visit the continent? And he said, I almost had to do something for work or something. It's like, but I remember we were talking about it, but whatever was needed at the time, he said, it wasn't even in stock. I was like, oh no. See, I don't want to deal with it. So then I told her, I said, I'm concerned about safety. Now I know this is going to piss some people off, like, oh, how dare you say this about Africa, blah, blah, blah. I said, but I am concerned. I'm thinking about like if you're in South Africa, I can't get too close to Lesotho. I think they're warring over there. They must have some kind of conflict that's going on over there. Look at my under eyes. Why did they look so like this? Sorry, I digress. But I'm like, you can't go to Lesotho. You can't go to what was that about there? I'm having a moment. I was just talking about this and now I don't remember. You know what I mean? Like, and she was like, so the lady, the white African lady, she said, well, look, there's a lot of places over there that are still in conflict. Rwanda or whatever. Well, no, I'm not going to purposely go to Rwanda, but the point I'm making is it's just kind of like, I don't want to be anywhere where I feel like, I gotta like be aware. I mean, like you always should be aware when you're traveling, but I was just like, I don't want to have to deal with that. I don't want there to be conflict, or I don't want to have to deal with conflict. And she's like, you need to be aware of that. It doesn't matter, East and West Coast. I said, let me tell you. I said, even just thinking about Nigeria, she looked at me. She was almost like, and I know she's not lying because I was having a conversation with I was taking a tennis lesson from someone not too far from here. He was born in Nigeria, I guess, lived maybe in Europe or then ended up living here. So he's like, I am gonna presume he's an American citizen now. We had a conversation. I said, I would love to go visit Nigeria, like Nigeria, Ghana, all these places. And he started giggling. He was like, well, look, I'm Nigerian and I'm not even considered Nigerian anymore. I've lost my Nigerian edge. And, I thought he was just joking. He was like, you could never definitely go alone because you'd probably get raped. I'm like, who says that? Oh, I don't even know if I can say the R word here. And I'm like, why would you say something like, I was like getting in my feelings about something, but he's like, well, what do you want me to tell you? He's like, you would definitely have to travel with your husband, but he would be fine until he starts speaking because they would hear his American accent. And then suddenly he's like, no, he's like, they're going to try to get over. And he's like, basically, he didn't make it seem attractive. He's like, you would definitely need someone who's Nigerian to look out for you. This is what you're telling me? Why would I want to go visit Nigeria? Now, this is just my collection of experiences. So I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. I just wanted to go eat some jollof rice and have a good time and visit the land and everything like that. But no, I was like, turn off. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have to worry about like as soon as I land and step foot, there would have to be like a scammer situation. Now, that may seem like a microaggression, but this is how I'm feeling, and this is the kind of things that he shared. I remember when I was in college, I was in like the student. Okay, let me back up for a second. I remember my interactions with some of the Nigerian men when I was in college. Well, many of the African men, but I'm going to specifically call out Nigerian men because they can be funny and and sweet when they want to be, but not really, right? They're very headstrong, very like I am the man. Like it was a lot. I was in the student union, and I remember I was sitting at a table. I don't know what I was studying, it doesn't even matter. I was sitting at a table and, to my left, which it doesn't even matter which anyway, he was next to me. I can't remember his name. I do remember no, I take that back. I do remember one guy's name, but I don't wanna say it because I don't like putting people on blast. The guy, he was 2 or 3 years ahead of me. Handsome guy. Built he was a handsome guy, but, I was just studying for something and he was studying for something. He may have even been a grad student, I can't remember, or a senior. I can't remember, but anyway, we were talking about everything and nothing. I don't know. It was, like when you're like in a break between studying or whatever. I was getting ready to go. He's like, hey, I'll walk out with you. I was walking out of the student union and I didn't think about it because I was kind of ahead of him. I was just ready to go. And as far as I was concerned, the conversation was over. And I walked out and I pushed the door. And I was going to walk out and just hold the door open for him because I had gotten there first. And let me just say this. I don't know what I was thinking because normally I am all for chivalry. Okay. I am about that life. And for those of you who don't know, let me make it really clear to you. I am a faux feminist, FAUX feminist. I'm not a real feminist, but I'm a sort of feminist. I mean, I do believe in some equality, but if we're being honest, most women pick and choose. Anyway, I just happened to get to the door first. Back then, when I say I'm 5'6", I was about 5'5" at the time. I think I hit like another inch. And I was real slim, like just tiny. And this guy was like the strapping dude. This is important to where I'm going with this. I remember walking out the union and I was holding the door for him. And he goes off on me. He goes off. You American women. It had nothing to do with me. It was like he went off on American women and black women and everything. Now, this is back in like 1999, 98, probably 99. No, wait a minute. I take that back. I graduated high school, I mean, college in 98. So this is probably 95. I can't even remember. Maybe 95. He went off about how horrible I was as a woman, and I need to just accept the fact that he wants to hold the door open for me. And if I were in his country, how he would not tolerate me acting like this, and he would have to teach me a lesson. And all, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I've got to go over there now. I had several crazy scenarios with people from Nigeria, Zimbabwe. Um, I don't remember men from Kenya. Benin and Togo. I can't remember if it was Ghana. Anyway, when that level of aggression came out, it was a lot for me. Where am I going with this? When the guy that I was getting a tennis lesson from told me that you need to go with like a Nigerian. I'm like, why wouldn't I go with my husband? He's like, well, you would be okay with your husband, but they would be trying to like, get over. Okay. He's like, and you would stay by your husband. I'm like, why would you say like I should fear for my safety, like somebody was trying to harm me? And so, based off of when I started thinking about my interactions with some of the people I met, I'm not saying this on Nigerian men, but I ran into some that was like, are you literally going off and talking about how you would teach me a lesson? And I was like, oh my goodness. And this guy was twice my size. I'm like, this man may try. Oh my goodness. But so getting back to the conversation, when I was talking with the lady about traveling in Africa, I said, I had an interest, but I said I have my concerns I said multiple ways, just because I'm like, will I be received well as a Black American? It's cost prohibitive with all the visas trying to go to various different countries. There's that aspect of there's still conflict going on over there. You've got the whole safety reason. I was like, just trying to just get all these different shots. Are they in stock? There's things I'm like, and I don't really speak French. I haven't had French since I was in like sixth, seventh grade. I don't even remember how to count all the way to 10. So I said, I just find that it's just too hard to travel in Africa. But yeah, I still want to visit, but it just seems like right now there's just so many hoops to go through. I feel like if they had, and I'm sure they do, if it was easier to travel, meaning, like when you go to multiple places, they make it like tourist friendly, right? There's certain areas where they're going to be inflated in prices and everything like that, but they cater to the tourists. The way I look at it is you want to invite people over, even if it's touristy, right? Get people to want to come and spend in the economy and get to know the people, but I feel like it's not like that. It's like hoops. Like I'm like, I didn't have to go through a lot of hoops to travel. And I don't want to. I'm lazy. And I'll say this with the Caribbeans, like, look, the Caribbeans are very proud of their culture. Everyone's like, I'm Jamaican, pop, 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 all that stuff, right? Like, I got it. I totally get it. Um, Even still, even though I know they talk about Black Americans too, but like when you go to the Caribbean, they make it easier for you to get there. They make it, I mean, it's not like a tall order to go visit the islands. The last time I checked, I haven't been in a few years, but like you don't need a visa. And yes, I know there are areas that are not safe, but generally speaking, you go visit touristy areas and non-touristy areas. I don't feel I don't feel like, I'm going to be harmed. I'm not going to go look for it either to test that theory. But anyway, so when I was talking with this white African woman and she said, look, I see you're here with your children. And she was like, I'm going to be honest. I think it's so great that you're traveling with your children. She was like, "There's so many benefits to doing that with your kids." She said, "I have children. I have 2 boys," or I think she's maybe 3 boys. She was like, "I have sons, and we traveled with them." So I think the lady may have been in her 50s. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. But she mentioned, she's like, "Your children will learn so much." She's like, "There's so many benefits." She was like, "You're doing the right thing, blah, blah, blah." However, it's probably gonna be a little more challenging to travel with your children in the continent of Africa because of all those things you listed. You know, it's different with Black Americans. Of course, you're gonna find some who are gonna be nice to you, but she's like, "You're gonna have to make sure you maintain your safety and, like, all the different visas," and it's just a pain. So anyway, I say this, I don't know how motivated I am to go to the continent, at least not with the kids. I would love to go with the kids. I think that if I'm gonna go, it may be something I do with just my husband to minimize the working parts, the moving parts, I'm sorry. Because the fact of the matter is traveling with my family still requires work and being in sync, some sort of synchrony and that type of thing. So that's it. This may not be popular. Um, I must apologize. I meant to say for those of you who are joining the this is the thumbnail that you would have selected to see this video. Hopefully, this was entertaining. I know my energy is low tonight, but that's the thumbnail. Traveling to Africa. I don't know. I will be going away again. Um, in a not too distant future to celebrate anniversary with my husband. It will be out of the country, short period of time. It will not be Africa. And it will be just myself and my husband. Um, I don't know. Africa is not off the table, but I think I think it's just that I am turned off by the hoops that I have to go through in order to have a successful, educational, informative, relaxing vacation. So, all right, let me take my little banner off here. This is not my normal time that I do my live. Um, Look, go ahead and hit that button. I need to put a little graphic up. I think I'm going to work on that tonight. The 5 S's: subscribing, showing your support by giving me a thumbs up, sharing this with all your friends, seeing all my videos, watching all my videos, and then saying something in the comment. The 5 S's. When you actually engage in any or all of the 5 S's, this actually tells, I can't even get the words out. I'm like stuttering to tell it's late. This tells the algorithm, hey, she's amazing in every way and she could do no wrong. So go ahead and send out more videos to all the peoples. But anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I know my energy is low, but all right, let me get out of here because I need to get ready for my kids to go to school tomorrow and to get back to work.